So, after OTAs, after mini camp for the rookies, we had our first chance to see Jayden Daniels and company practice, and we've had glowing reviews so far. We're going to get into that and much, much more on this episode of the Washington Football Maniacs. And welcome back to another podcast here on the Washington Football Maniacs channel. I am Greg Sykes, your host here on this channel, along with my buddy and my partner here, Brandon Scott. And this channel, of course, is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. If you're down with that, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. When you do, also make sure you hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. With that said, let's get into today's video. So, we are wanting to kind of sum up all of the events going around with talking about Jayden Daniels. And I have probably talked about this in some prior videos. I know I've made another video about this that probably hasn't been released, but it will be. Well, actually, that one will probably be released before this one is. But, regardless, there might be some repeat stuff that will be said. But you know what? I'm just trying to drive home the idea that we love Jayden Daniels, man. Yeah. We really do. And we have heard nothing but really good things about Jayden Daniels in both the rookie minicamp as well as OTAs. We have heard that he has really come out and he is light years ahead. He has really played well, or he's practiced well in both. He's really studied the protections, the offensive protections and things like that, Brandon. And just the clips we've seen, his passes look really good. Of course, he's not getting pressured, and we know this, but he looks really good. His release is very light and fast. Yeah. He's snapping his arm like crazy. As compared to Jayden Daniels, the other guy who, of course, we thought was going to be the other draft prospect for the Washington Commanders, of whom we've heard from their head coach, New England Patriots head coach, Jarrett Mayo, who says that, Drake May, he's got a lot to learn. So, Brandon, knowing that we've heard two stark differences coming out of both mini camps and OTAs, what can you draw? What kind of conclusions can you draw as far as both quarterbacks? Do you think that there's a chance that, well, number one, you think there's a chance that, or highly likely, Jayden Daniels likely is going to be the QB1 going into the season for the Commanders, and two, you think that Drake May has a high heel decline if he is going to be QB1 for the New England Patriots?
Good question. Start with Jayden Daniels. Yeah, he's QB1. I mean, easy. He's QB1. He's impressed me. He has. And, if you look at what he's done in rookie minicamp, OTAs, he shows off the physical and the mental. And people don't really talk about the mental side of sports. I've said this on the basketball and the football side, that the mental side is definitely the more important of the two, because where your mind goes, your body follows. And he has shown leadership. He's shown somebody who likes to study film, look at offenses and defenses. I mean, this guy he checks all boxes what you want out of a franchise quarterback. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. He's easily coachable. He comes in slightly with a chip on his shoulder, but he checks all boxes to me. And I've been very impressed with Jayden Daniels, especially looking at certain interviews. He was on the Keyshawn Johnson's podcast, man, and the way he carries himself, the way he answers questions, and you can tell the media is trying to get certain things out of him, and very humble young man. Like I said, he definitely has some swag to him, but very humble young man. So he's definitely raised right, man. Love what I see from him. He's going to be a heck of a franchise quarterback in Washington. And like I said, he knows what situation he's in, especially looking at the state of the offensive line. And like I said, I know you've covered Brandon Coleman, and I do think that Brandon Coleman can be a really good lineman. But his O-line, this is definitely a year where it's in transition. You have a lot of new pieces, a lot of old pieces. Chemistry has to get right on the O-line. And a lot of people don't realize overall as a team, you have new coaches, new owner, new GM. Everything has to gel, and it's going to take time to do that. So I'll be very surprised if we're a playoff team right out the gate. Not to say that I would be happy, because I'd be definitely very elated. But I think that we have a lot of growing pains ahead of us. But I think Jayden Daniels, man, he's going to make the transition a lot better, because he's shown that he's came here ready to work, ready to succeed. A lot of the teammates, especially Terry McLaurin, has said high things about him as far as his work ethic, his passing ability. To me, he's already. I know I might get some flack for some people for this, but he's already a better prospect at quarterback, in my opinion, than RG3 was. Not to take away that RG3, that rookie year, was magical. I mean, I remember that like it was yesterday, man. I mean, that his rookie year was magical. But the fact that he could throw from the pocket, he can, the accurate passes deep, are just amazing. Now, not to say there's not things he needs to work on. Obviously, slant passes, throwing across the middle, you see signs of that. He's definitely working on that. So, that's definitely what you want to see from him. Learning to balance running and staying in the pocket, I think are things that he's going to have to learn, because again, the O-line is kind of in transition. So chances are, he's going to be running a little bit, especially if we have Brandon Coleman on the left. Like nothing, I think Brandon Coleman's going to be really good. I like what I see from him, but he's definitely developing. And looking at, Wiley on the right side, he's, opinions differ when Wiley, but I guess what I'm saying is I want to see the coaching staff kind of put him in positions where he succeed, knowing that he's going to run, bounce him out to the right, and do a lot, do some bootlegs, stuff like that. So I think they're definitely going to do that for him. And Cliff Kingsbury, man, like I said, opinions differ on him as a head coach, but as a coordinator, he always finds ways to get his quarterback and his offensive weapons in the best position to succeed. And he's got a lot of weapons here in DC. So I think he checks all boxes. I'm very excited. I was one of those people, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I had about 3 shots of bourbon, and when the night that he got drafted, I did go out and get a number 5 Commanders jersey, man. So I'm guilty for that. So I praise the Lord Almighty that he, Tressway gave him number 5, man, because that'd be one of those weird people out here with a number 5, and he's number 11. So thank God for that. But I love what I see from Jayden, man. He's definitely gonna come in here and he's gonna do his job. And I think that at the quarterback position, for the very first time in a long time, we're going to have a franchise quarterback who's going to be here to stay. Definitely pending injuries that, hopefully there's no injuries, but I think he's going to be here for a while. Looking at Drake May, I was actually disappointed with New England by making those comments. I'm going to say that because he's a rookie quarterback, and let's be real with it. Looking at the roster of the New England Patriots, quarterback is not your only issue. Your receiving core is, let's be real. They have a lot of holes in that team. Nothing against the Patriots. Look, they're going to build that team up. Honestly, okay, I'm a Commanders fan, but I think that New England showed that you got to have all the right pieces in play, man. It's not just on Drake Daniels. You knew what his shortcomings was, that, coming out of the draft, that he wasn't the guy who's going to start right away. Probably going to sit behind. I definitely see him sitting behind Jacoby Brissett in New England for a year, just for him to develop. You see the intangibles with him, the shortcomings, but there's a lot of upside to like about Drake May. To come out and say that he may not be the guy, I don't think that's the most tactful thing to say when you just drafted a guy. Because what's that really say, or what's that really do to his confidence as a young quarterback when your head coach come out and say, well, that might have been a mistake, man. Like, he's a young quarterback, confidence is the name of the game. And, young players, I cover this on the NBA side, because on the Wizards, they've had so many young guys where confidence has been an issue. And young players, regardless of the sport, confidence is very important. So I didn't think it was the right thing to say. I do like Mayo. I do like the coach over there in New England. I do like what they got going on, just from the perspective of an NFL fan. But I didn't think that was too tactful. But everything comes down to the right place, right system, right environment. And I think that Jayden Daniels, while a lot of his future success is definitely going to be because of his work and his work ethic and what he does on the field, his supporting cast, as far as his weapons, the coaching staff, and the front office, even the environment that the ownership has provided, we have everything in place for him to be successful and for his team to be successful, because we're building the right culture. So I think he checks all boxes, and I think that his organization has checked all boxes. I love the owner. I love the GM. I love the coaching staff. They're ready to play. They're going to coach these guys up to be dogs on defense, and the offense is going to be a lot better this year. So I love what I see overall, man. I really do.
Yeah, I just I feel like overall, you're talking to every single player, or at least every player that they have interviewed. There's nothing but positivity. It's almost like a clean slate for every player. They've interviewed Benjamin St. Juice, which we've been a little hard on the on the juice, but he feels like that there's a clean slate for him. Certainly, Emmanuel Forbes feels like that he can succeed. And then, of course, you got the other guys like Brian. Robinson, who we expect big things out of him. Terry McLaurin, we always expect big things out of him. But even like John Dodson, we feel like that he can really have a good season this year, especially with someone like Jayden Daniels throwing to him. So. And it's kind of funny because just today I looked on social media. I think it was PFT that kind of released their predictions of how they feel like every team is going to fare this year, and they predicted the Washington Commanders to go 2-15 this year. And I was like, I looked at that and I was like, are you ridiculous? I mean, 2-15. With a brand new owner, with a brand new coaching staff, a brand new quarterback. I mean, you've turned over 30 players on the roster. You've got a Heisman Trophy quarterback who has already, I think he's light years ahead of a lot of quarterbacks probably that have already been in the league. I mean, I know, again, rose-colored glasses I probably have on, but still, it's just he looks like he is ready to start. I mean, you could just see the confidence, and he is working really hard, probably harder than anybody. And I can't see that this team is going to only win 2 games this season. I mean, yeah, that they may only win 5 games this season, but I can guarantee you they're going to be very competitive in all 17 games this season. It's not going to be one of those things where they just didn't put up much of a fight in several games and maybe they somehow luck up and they win a couple of games. No, they're going to put up a fight. Dan Quinn's going to have this team ready in each game, week in, week out. You guarantee that. But again, I don't expect this team to necessarily win 10 games. Now there are fans out there who are expecting at least that and nothing short of playoffs. And if that doesn't happen, they want this team to get blown up and to restart again. That I don't get that at all. And it's funny because we're going to have in the comment section, who said that? You go back and look at the comment section of my other videos and you're going to read it. But, overall, I'm realistic. And honestly, if they win 6-7 games, you guarantee it, you're going to be proud of those 6 or 7 games because you're going to look back on the season and be like, you know what, that was probably closer to almost 8 or 9 games because they played very hard and they played very well this year, and they are one step closer to really turning this season around. They probably only have 1 or 2 pieces left to really make a big run, and I guarantee they have a lot of pieces in place already. So yeah, and yeah, the Drake May thing too, it kind of bothered me as well because I was like, wow, I understand Patriots way, and I understand that the Patriots should be the gold standard, but maybe the Patriots of yesteryear. And yes, now you can call them the Patriots of the yesteryear because Bill Belichick's not there anymore. Tom Brady's not there anymore. A lot of those Patriots that helped bring them Super Bowls are not there anymore. So the Patriots are there now, or they're in name, right? I mean, they're having to make a new legacy. They have a new coach there, a whole brand new team. So to really be very tough on a new rookie coming in and saying he's got a lot to learn. It's like, well, maybe you should have said, yeah, he's got an uphill climb because there's not a lot of talent around him. Although I will say, I think Bill Belichick had a pretty decent defense last year, but offense was not hitting on much. Yeah, overall, I will say Drake May has his work cut out for him, and maybe that's what he should have said. But to say that, um, you know, he I don't know. I felt like it's such a stark contrast, and then you see the comparisons of the releases. Drake May's release compared to Jayden Daniels, and I thought, well, that's a little unfair as well because then if you go back to the '80s and you see the release of Dan Marino's release compared to everybody else in the league, Joe Montana's release, and you would be like, wow, Joe Montana's probably one of the bottom tier quarterbacks in the league compared to Dan Marino. But then again, Dan Marino never had a ring. Joe Montana, how many rings did he have? So, it's like that's fine and dandy. Quick release, that's always great, but success, that's what it comes down to. And so I hope that Drake May is very successful. I really do. But I am ecstatic that we have Jayden Daniels. Very, very ecstatic. I'm just I'm happy that it seems like overall very successful rookie minicamp, very successful OTAs. Just can't wait to see what happens when we start to get into the mini camps and all that. The actual camps that start in August. So we're going to finish up this video just quickly. I've talked about this once before, but I just want to get your approval on this because I think everybody else approved Jan Quinn on this, Brandon. But if I wear this in a video, do you think this will be acceptable?
I don't see why not. I mean, I guess to kind of give my own little opinion on it, man. I mean, I think it's a dope shirt. I mean, because you're honoring the past, and yet you're looking forward to the future. And it's not like they put the picture of the Native American up there because you already know they would have did that. Lord have mercy, people would have lost it. I think I mean, I don't see what the problem is with the shirt. Again, with the feather, you're paying homage to the past, and then with the Commanders logo, you're looking towards the future. So I think we both know that we live in a world where people just are mad to be mad, and they'll find a reason to be mad regardless what the situation is. So it is what it is on that front. But I want to say this because we were talking about this before the episode, man. Is that I know that the new ownership of Josh Harris and Magic Johnson, they've used both the name Redskin and they use Commander, and it kind of and we both know that the fan base is split, and they've been split on everything. I mean, we were split, this room split, but I think they need to come out and say, look, there's a chance we can change the name, and if that indeed is the case, then I think this time around they need to put out to the fans, with the fans, when the fans vote, you definitely strongly consider adopting the name that the fans want. I don't think many people wanted Commanders. I think Red Wolves is something. I liked Red Wolves. That was just me personally. So if you're gonna eventually rebrand, then go ahead, let's get it in motion to a certain degree. I get it. You definitely should be looking at on the field before the name, but I think they need to be very transparent with the fan base and say, look, we're not changing the name, and then end it. And if they are, give it to the fans. Let the fans get involved, because I think this is a perfect way to get fans back into the stadium, get them involved with the process. Go out there and say, look, you guys vote. And what you guys vote, definitely be a lot more, get the fans a lot more involved. But yeah, the shirt, it's like people are losing their minds over the shirt. It's like, come on. I mean, it was a feather. You're paying homage to the past, which you should do. If you look at any organizations or teams where they change their name, like the Cleveland Guardians, which we all know used to be the Cleveland Indians, they still show homage to the past. You know what I mean? So regardless, you show homage to the past. We were the Redskins. You can't, look, no matter how much you try to erase history, you can't. We were the Redskins. So it is what it is. Like I said, I never had a problem with the name. Not to say that people shouldn't. I'm not gonna get into all that, but me personally, I'm not of Native American descent, so I really never had an opinion. It's just a team that was the Washington team. It was the Redskins when I was growing up, so just what that was a team that I rooted for. So I think people just need to get a grip and realize that with the heritage of this team, you're always going to have a sizable amount of the fan base that are going to always look back to the Redskins because that was such an iconic name. It was such an iconic period, and you're not going to change that. I mean, if you look back, it was an iconic period because people forget that this team was one of the most powerful franchises in sports, and not just football, in sports. And the owner we had, Jack and Cook, was probably one of the most powerful men in the District of Columbia, to the point where even within the realm of the federal government, he had a lot of sway. And that's the part that we need to gain back, which is the leverage, the relationship with the District of Columbia and the federal government, because right now we're haggling with the government to get his land back. Where if Jack King Cook was still here, there would be no haggling. He would have had whatever he wanted because he had that leverage, and for good reason, because he was a really good owner, had a really good relationship with the city of DC. And I kind of want to see that with Josh Harris, regain that relationship with the city of DC, and we'll try to get the stadium back in. I think that this team needs to be back in DC. I'm done with FedEx. I'm done with Landover, Maryland. We need to be back within the boundaries of the District of Columbia, in my period. And this is probably going to be a video coming up for us, man, because I know that with the Wizards and Ted Leonsis, the owner of the Wizards, getting that money from the city of DC could have made it a little harder to regain that land from RFK, maybe. But I definitely think that you make every possible measure to try to bring the team back to DC, in my opinion. So I think that the desire, I can't even talk. The divisiveness between the fan base is going to get better because everything's in motion. We checked every box. We have an owner who he's not meddling, but he's a good owner. He's out here buying beers for people. I already like the guy. GM wise, look, Adam Peters is going to be a heck of a GM. I mean, he's a humble guy, but he's got that swag to him. He comes in, he's going to do a great job. Dan Quinn's going to get this defense, this team rolling, man. So we're going to have a good product, and I think that with improved play and definitely getting the fans a lot more involved with the organization, you're going to see a lot of these issues we have now go away, because I think that regardless which side of the divide you're on, we all love this team. We all love this team, and we all want to see this team succeed. And I think that is the fact that is going to bring us together, because we all are diehard fans that want to see this team succeed again. And I think that's going to be the fact that brings us back together, to be honest with you, is that, a lot of the stuff I think that's made to kind of divide us, the name and being mad. And I think that no matter, like I said, no matter on what side, we all love this team. And we all want to see this team succeed. And this fan base has always been the bloodline of this franchise. It was a fan base who made this franchise what it was, how vibrant it was. I mean, you know more than I was, because I'm an 85 baby. So you remember RFK, they used to rock that stadium so hard they thought it was going to break down, man. I mean, they had that concrete bouncing, man. So I think that winning and really coming together, man, and really supporting this team into the new era, we're going to be all right, man. We're going to be just fine. So.
Yeah, and the news, of course, and again, and I'll keep this brief because I'm kind of planned on just kind of doing a video on this as well. But we had that senator to kind of come out and wanting to block any chance of the team wanting to move to RFK until they basically went back to the Redskins, which, in a way, I would love that, because I miss the symbol, the chief symbol, I miss calling them Redskins, because to me, I mean that's what they've always been since I've been alive, and it's never been a derogatory thing at all to me. To me, it's always been like this brave thing, and actually it's for me, it's always reminded me of the Native Americans, and a good reminder in a good way, to help support that community. But honestly, I think it's actually helped to open communications between the ownership and tribes. I think they were actually meeting, or either they've already met, or they were going to have meetings sometime soon. If, like I said, if they haven't already met, which is very interesting, because if these meetings have taken place, what are these meetings entailing, and why have they met? If the ownership have no intentions whatsoever of having any type of Native American imagery, then what's the purpose of even meeting? This makes you wonder. I really feel deep in my heart, I feel like because they haven't really came out and said we are never ever ever rebranding. They have never closed the door on this at all. Some people think they did, but no, the only thing they ever said was this is not at the forefront right now. The only thing that is on our forefront is building a good team and trying to get a new stadium. But that has never implied that they are never rebranding again. It's just saying it's not at the top of our list. They have always, and that they said when they first got the team, that everything is on the table, and including a rebrand. So they're going to rebrand. I feel like they are, and I think that it's gotten so much more light. I could really see them changing the name to the Warriors. I really do, because there's so much talk about the logo and wanting to bring that logo back, and to honor that family that gave the logo, and because the family has been so upset ever since the logo was retired. And so the only way that I can see them truthfully using that logo again, besides of course going back to the Redskins, which I don't think you can put the genie back in the box at that point, would be using the Warriors name. The Washington Warriors sound the best, and honestly, for the Washington Redskins only camp, a lot of the ones I've talked to with that said that they would be okay with Washington Warriors if it never could be the Redskins, and using the chief logo and going back to the old uniforms. A lot of people who were like okay with the Commanders are also okay with going back to the old uniforms and keeping the W on the helmet. I think we all can agree our current uniforms are ugly. They are absolutely ugly. I hate those uniforms with a passion. I thought I can get used to them. I honestly, they're horrible. They are. I don't think I'm in the minority on that. But anyway, that's another video, folks. So I am going to end this video. I know Brandon has to get on locked on, so we're going to let him get on that. But folks, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, give it a share, leave a comment in the comments section. Let us know your thoughts on Jayden Daniels, Drake May. Let us know your thoughts on the shirt, and let us know if you bought the shirt because of Dan Quinn. And with that said, we will see you in the next one, held to the Washington Redskins, Warriors, Red Wolves, Commanders, whoever they may be. We'll take care, folks. We'll see you in the next one.